Now, I'm sure everyone has heard the term analog horror before, especially those with interest in the horror genre. I myself have watched many analog horror YouTube videos, such as the Mandela Catalog, Urban Spook, and the FNAF VHS tapes. I know those are considered mainstream, but they're the first ones that come to mind. I wanted to record this video, however, to talk about one of my favorite analog horror videos here on YouTube, Anomalous Abduction Autopsies, created by StylizedKitsune. I remember when I first discovered this video, I immediately fell in love with it. It gives such an eerie vibe, and the visuals are 10 out of 10. Instead of constant jump scares like other analog horror series, it gives an unsettling vibe and runs shivers down your back. I do want to mention that the topics we'll be discussing today, as well as the visuals of this video, may be disturbing to some viewers, so as always, viewer discretion is advised. On that note, let's dive in. Right off the bat, we're thrown in. We see what appears to be a recording of a long dark hallway on some sort of camcorder like you saw at the beginning of this video. Suddenly, a dark figure runs towards the person behind the camera, and then it cuts off. We're then met with this screen, which reads the following. The following content is for authorized forensic agents from the Department of Counterintelligence and Threats Analysis. Any public performance, copying, or other use is strictly prohibited. Next, we're given a specific date of the tape, June 20th, 1974, and then the title card. The screen then reads, "You are assigned to review 3 classified cases, retrieve details from designated secure channels, and submit your comprehensive report within the designated time frame. Maintain utmost confidentially." We can gather that whoever was assigned this tape is an agent from the Department of Counterintelligence and Threats Analysis and was assigned these cases. It appears that their goal is to review and gather important information about the 3 cases in this tape. We then head into the case files. We're given a picture of Eugene Wilkins, a 31-year-old male. It also states that his cause of death was an acute hemorrhage. It then explains that his body was found in a patch of grass 2 miles from a town in Pennsylvania. We find out that Wilkins had been reported missing 3 days prior to his body being found by local authorities. Wilkins was reported to have stopped showing up to work and did not answer any phone calls made by his company. Wilkins had been subjected to surgical mutilation, and the state of his body has been considered not for the faint of heart. The tape then goes on to explain the state of Wilkins' body when it was discovered, mentioning that his eyes, teeth, and tongue were removed, as well as his muscles and organs. However, it states that there were no visible incisions made or any puncture wounds. Investigators have speculated that this was done with unusual and completely unnatural instruments. This was the illustration of Wilkins' body when it was discovered. We then move on to the next case file, which is of Maria Bishop, who was a 21-year-old female. It states her cause of death was strangulation, and she also had mild OCD. We learn that her body was found by a local farmer underneath a light post on a highway in Tennessee. We also learn that her parents were the ones to notify authorities after having no contact for 8 days. She was last seen at a gas station, which was 6 miles away from where her body was discovered, and Stella Davis, who was the clerk at the gas station, was the last person to see Bishop alive, recalling Bishop's strange behavior. Davis states, "She bought laxatives, chocolate, sleeping pills, and cigarettes. She took the items and left hurriedly. She seemed like she was running from someone." We then learn the state of Bishop's body when she was discovered. Her body had gone through extreme physical contortion and stretching, stating that the force to create this type of damage and fractures is extremely high, even more than a car crash. It also mentions that Bishop's body was covered completely with a yellowish substance, similar to motor oil. As with Eugene Wilkins' body, all of the blood and organs were removed, but the official cause of death was asphyxiation. This is the illustration of Bishop's body. Now, this last case is what I think to be the craziest out of all the 3, so be prepared. The final case file is of an unidentified male who appeared to be in his late 40s. His cause of death was chest trauma. The tape explains that a local hunter named Edwards had witnessed an incident at a classified area. He heard screams of help in the darkness of the fields and ended up running towards the location of the screams. As he did, he witnessed an unidentified triangular object hovering 30 feet above the ground. The unidentified man was dangling in the air with metallic wires wrapped around his body. As soon as Edwards went to approach the dangling man, a click was heard and then the man was dragged away. The triangular object then silently shot up into the dark sky and then vanished from sight. We're then shown an illustration of the flying object that Edward had witnessed. Edwards quickly contacted the authorities and a search party was sent out to the abduction area. They stopped after 4 hours. The hunter was interrogated for 3 days, that is until the body of the unidentified man was found 5 miles away from the abduction site. The state of the man's body was so gruesome and mutilated in a manner that investigators had never come across before. The man was found with no limbs, just the torso and one half of his head remaining. Due to the contortion of his face, he was unable to be identified. There were 2 symmetrical orifices in his chest, which is where the man's blood had been completely drained from. Investigators had determined that this was done with advanced instruments, which acted as draining tools. We're then shown an illustration of the man's body. And that's it. Unfortunately, we're not left with much closure, but the video is still super eerie and unsettling. If that type of horror interests you, I recommend checking out the full video, as well as StylizedKitsune's other analog horror videos on their channel. Their style in this horror genre is honestly super high quality, and I enjoy their content. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I do have another video in the mix right now that I hope you'll enjoy. If you want to see more content like this, please leave some suggestions down in the comments. Thanks for the support, and I'll see you in the next one.